Good morning. Again, my name is Pete Silva, and I've been working on these border issues for almost, 37 years, something like that. So I've seen the highs and lows and the positives and negatives, and to me, it always comes down to having the right people in the right places with a will to get things done. And I almost have to do a disclaimer after this morning. I did not go to San Diego State. I went to UCSD, so I almost have to apologize, I guess. I want to start with some of the positives that we've had on the border. You know, I've been working on the Colorado River, and the title of this seminar is "The Water We Share," and certainly we share the Colorado River. And I want to focus on minute 319 and 323 under the International Body Water Commission, which to me have been an example of success. When you look at what we've accomplished under there, we were able to develop water for the environment that went down to the Cienega in Baja California. We had Mexico storing water in Lake Mead for the first time. I mean, that was a huge move from Mexico, very positive. We had U.S. investment, actual financial investment in the Valley of Mexicali for water conservation, and then water exchange in Lake Mead. And then we had both U.S. and Mexican agencies agree on cutbacks to water allocations as part of the DCP, or the Drought Contingency Plan. So really some really huge positive moves on the water supply side. I think we all would agree. But again, the keys there were that, some of the keys were that we had the right people at the table. We had the states really engaged along with the federal government in terms of the details. And again, we had the right people. We had the right agencies. We had both in the U.S. and Mexico. So again, those were the keys to success in my view. On the water quality side, not so much success. I mean, we've had some positive things happen. We had as Arnold mentioned, the binational plan in San Isidro, minute 289, I think. And then we had also U.S. investments in Mexicali for the Las Arenitas plant, and that really helped out the New River issue. So there have been a few highlights on the water quality side, but I think we all can agree that we have a long way to go, both in the New River and here in San Diego, Tijuana. And so while we look at those problems, again, in my view, they're not going to get resolved until we have the right mechanisms and the right people in the right times. We're getting there. I mean, I think as the mayor said, there's been a lot of positive things happening recently that we're looking forward, hopefully, to some federal funding that will come through the Nat Bank. I know the state, through Joaquin's efforts, has also been very engaged in trying to make a difference. I will say, and I think that Nando mentioned this in his talk. I think great minds think alike. Is that a couple of things I want to highlight in terms of where we should head, both short term and maybe even long term, is I think we have to start thinking differently about the sanitation issues. And to me, the one major thing is that we have to start thinking of, and you mentioned this also, Nando, is that we need to start looking at the wastewater not as a problem but as a resource. You know, how do we convert that wastewater that we think of as a problem now? How do we convert it into an asset? And again, some of those things might be water reuse, water reclamation. The mayor talked about the desal that we were talking about through Otay Water District and working with Baja California. Mexico is very, very interesting through the negotiations in how we can potentially desal New River water for binational benefits. You also talked about the international plan wastewater being also reclaimed and reused at the local level. So again, some of that forward thinking that might bring us some very needed resources to the table that we haven't thought about. And so I think we have, again, start thinking a little bit differently on that. I think for the short term, we have to take some immediate actions, I think. But I think in the medium, intermediate, and long term, we have to start looking at the water as a resources to bring some resources to the local governments. And I'll end with one thing now that I have Joaquin here today, is that I think we would all benefit, I think, from a better discussion at the state-to-state level, California to Baja California. And that's not to say that we're going to bypass the federal government's efforts. We can't. But how do we have a better communication state to state, so that we have better understanding of what we both want, and then bring that up to the federal governments so that we're on the same page and we're in a much better position to receive funding and to solve these problems. So I'll end it there. Thank you.